So this is an article called No Way Out. This is titled No Way Out in the New York Times. A sudden life and death struggle at a Houston concert. 8 people died at Travis Scott's Astroworld Festival, and hundreds more were injured as investigators sought to determine why and how a surging crowd turned deadly. Houston. Panic and then desperation spread through the crowd of 50,000, mostly young people, just as the popular hometown rapper they had come to see, Travis Scott, took the stage Friday night. It came like a wave, an unstoppable movement of bodies that could not be held back. Some collapsed, others fought for air. Concertgoers lifted up the unconscious bodies of friends and strangers and surfed them over the top of the crowd, hoping to send them to safety. Others shouted out for help with CPR and pleaded for the concert to stop. So right off the bat, this sounds like it sounds like you're describing a natural disaster, passing bodies. Like there was just an earthquake or tsunami that passed through. And I've been to concerts before that have gotten rowdy. I've been, on the floor section of Wiz Khalifa concerts back when I was in high school when he was first coming up in New York City, and those theaters got pretty fucking crazy. I know heavy metal concerts, a lot of concerts that are more alternative rock, heavy metal get crazy with mosh pits. I've never been in a mosh pit before, but I've seen videos. Those get fucking brutal. And Travis Scott has a reputation for, I don't want to say inciting riots, but he definitely does not discourage people from getting extremely rowdy during his concerts. It's kind of his rage mindset, is that we're going to concerts to have a good time. We're letting loose physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, probably getting fucked up, probably taking drugs. And so when I'm first reading this sounds like a literal natural disaster situation where people can't get to help and they're passing bodies over bodies. And right away, the crowd surfing image from the beginning of this article, I am thinking about how crowd surfing is normally such a joyous, exciting thing. I was, the first time I ever saw a crowd surf in person was when I was at Lollapalooza back in 2017. And it's exciting. Even if you aren't someone who's facilitating the actual surfing through the crowd, you can see everyone's pumped up. You're carrying an artist or a fan to the crowd. I saw a video of DaBaby doing it, and it looks, fucking epic. I would 100% do that with security. If I was an artist, I would jump to the crowd, have people catch me, surf around, come back. I think most people are good people and they want to be part of the fun. And so that image kind of put up against this horrific, you're not crowd surfing because you're trying to engage with your fans or trying to have a good time, but you're crowd surfing because you're trying to pass bodies as quickly as possible to the people who are trying to help them. And people pleading for the concert to stop. And I'll bring up multiple videos that kind of show that footage on Twitter that went super viral. But first, let's keep going with the article. So others shouted out for help with CPR and pleaded for the concert to stop. It kept going. In the end, 8 people died, ranging in age from 14 to 27, according to city officials. Hundreds more were treated for injuries at a field hospital at the concert venue, the NRG Park in Houston, or at local hospitals. Among those treated at a hospital was a 10-year-old child. Jesus Christ. So 8 people died. Damn. Like, I understand people passing out and dehydrating at festivals. I've been in that environment before, and especially over the summer, it gets very hot. You're out for 3 or 4 days straight, but this wasn't that same thing. It didn't sound like that same thing. This sounded like a night thing with 50,000 people, which is a fuck ton of people. Um, I read something that said it was built for 200,000, so it wasn't packed to the brim, but 50,000 people is a massive amount of fucking people. That is an MLB stadium full of people. That is a baseball venue, an entire fucking, Citi Field or Yankee Stadium packed with people all at a concert. And, I've been there when people have passed out at music festivals, but it does not sound like people were dying from passing out or dehydration. It sounds like, and it looked like it was pressure, something pressure related, um, kind of getting squeezed at the front of the concert, or getting squeezed by people and getting trampled by people. This sounds like impact injuries and suffocation injuries, which there is no excuse for at a concert, because a lot of times when people pass out or dehydrated, that's on them. The combination of heat and drugs and not being hydrated, that causes you to lose consciousness. But with people trampling over bodies and being squeezed and suffocated literally in the middle of a concert with no way to go, that is on the people performing, that is on the people organizing the concert, that is on event workers, and then also people in the crowd who put getting closer to the stage or raging over the value of people's lives. And there were a lot of people in the crowd that were screaming at Travis Scott and saying, stop the concert, stop the fucking concert. Someone's dead, there are people dying. So there were, it seems like dozens, if not hundreds of people trying to get the attention of anyone on stage. And so I don't want to make it seem like everyone was just running over bodies, because that's not what it sounds like. It sounds like there were a lot of people who genuinely were trying to help. And a 10-year-old child fucking died. For what? That is tragic, but what do you do in bringing a 10-year-old to a Travis Scott concert? Through the late night, like, I don't know, 10 is too young for me for Travis Scott. I would say maybe 13, 14, 15, might think about taking my kid to a Travis Scott concert, but fucking 10 years old, like, it's not even about the words and the curse words, because you're going to hear curse words when you're 10. It's more just the atmosphere of fucking, people doing drugs, people drinking, everyone's fucked up. Things do not go well when you go to concerts at 10 years old. I don't think there's any way for that to end well. And I'm assuming this person was with parents, and that's absolutely tragic. But it's like, if my kid really wanted to and he was 10 years old, I would play him Astroworld and put it on the record player in my living room, dim the lights, put the hue lights on behind me, set the mood, and we'd share a LaCroix and just vibe out to Travis Scott in the privacy of our own home. With my kid, we're just bopping around, just like, trying to think of what's a good Travis Scott lyric to vibe out to. What's a good Travis Scott lyric to vibe out to right now? I'm like blanking out. I listen to Astroworld all the time when I go on walks, and I'm just like, I can't hear it in my head right now. Let's go. Goosebumps. Goosebumps. How does that go? Do you ever get that where you know how you need to stop what you're doing to hear a song in your head and figure out the vibes, and I'm talking and I can't figure it out. I can't hear the song in my head right now. Yeah, I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. You come around, yeah. You ease my mind, you make everything feel fine. Worry about those comments. That's like me and my kid just bopping, sunglasses on, Philips Hue lights, smashing a mandarin or orange, LaCroix, any other flavors, get the fuck out of here. And we're bopping around and we're getting buck wild. I'll rush the couch with my kid instead of rushing the stage. We can do a two-person mosh pit in my apartment at 10 years old, kind of prepare for the mosh pit, we'll work our way up kind of in the gym. I'll throw some styrofoam padding on him. I'll tape some pillows around him, and we'll mosh and we'll practice, and we'll hit into each other, and he'll learn. When you're in a mosh pit, everyone's out for themselves, which is an important lesson in life. In a mosh pit, everyone is out for themselves. You are going into that mosh pit, rushing in, wanting to have your own mosh experience, and everything else is an afterthought. And that is a good lesson to learn. I am 100% for kids learning how to mosh in a safe environment, in the safety of their own home or backyard, with some protective padding. And that is my duty as a father, just to teach my kid what happens at a concert when you don't train for it. And so he will train for Travis Scott, like an Ultimate Ninja Warrior. My son is going to have styrofoam, that packaging shit, and he's going to be taped all over him, and we're going to be fucking smashing into each other, and he'll learn. He'll be like, yo, if you don't throw that body, if you don't throw those hips right, you're going to get messed up. And I'm going to teach him that as my son. And he will be prepared when he's 15, 16 years old to go to a Travis Scott concert. But this kid was he was not ready. By Saturday, officials in Houston were at a loss to explain how the concert, part of the 2-day Astroworld Music Festival, okay, so this was a festival, 2 days, organized by Live Nation and Mr. Scott, had transformed in an instant from a celebration to a struggle for life. So too were those who had been at the outdoor concert, who described the thrust of the crowd that would not let up as Mr. Scott took the stage around 9 p.m. It was like hell, said Nick Johnson, 17, who had his concert bracelet on as he spoke on Saturday morning. Everybody was just in the back trying to push to the front. People were literally grabbing and pinching at my body, trying to get up from the ground, said Chris Lay, adding that he lost contact with his friends as he tried to make it out of the crowd. I was fighting for my life. There was no way out. I was fighting for my life. There was no way out. I mean, do people have to start doing tactical training before they go to a Travis Scott concert? Like before like I actually shout out to Ludus Combat Club up in Plattsburgh, New York. I took a knife defense class up in Plattsburgh, and we learned different maneuvers and techniques where you're grappling, you're hanging on to people, you're doing a little bit of jujitsu, and you're learning how to defend someone who is trying to stab you with a knife. Over the top, wrist control. You don't let you always want to have control of the wrist that is holding the knife. And does Travis Scott and his group have to start sending out online Zoom courses, how to defend yourself and how to take control and not die and not get stabbed and trampled at a concert? Like, it's just Travis Scott that comes on Zoom, and he's like, all right, today, class, we're going to learn the art of getting out from underneath a dog pile at a concert. The first thing you want to do is you want to create space for your breath. You want to create space for the air, and then you want to grab onto something you can use for leverage and climb through and get that first gulp of air, like, and then use that to carry you forward. Get oxygen, because once you don't have oxygen, your muscles stop working. Get that air. Like, this shit sounds so crazy that they should actually start sending preparations for Travis Scott concert. Like, I'm all for people getting rowdy at concerts as long as the protections are in play, which they obviously were not if 8 people died. But like, this is just the wording from this article. I was fighting for my life. People are grabbing and pinching at my body, trying to get me up at the ground. This sounds like the game we used to play on the bus in high school, where you run through the seats on the bus and you have to make it to the back, and everyone is punching you and fucking grabbing you, and you win once you get to the back door and you touch the exit door on the bus. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like everyone was doing that and taking turns doing that, and then it just happened to be a Travis Scott concert. It sounds like the the fighting was first and Travis was second. Yeah, I don't know. It's fucked up. This event appeared to be one of the deadliest crowd control disasters at a concert in the United States in many years. Similar episodes have occurred at venues around the world during performances of all genres of music, including a electronic music festival at which 18 people were trapped and crushed, and a 1979 Who concert in Cincinnati, where 11 people died as concertgoers rushed the entrance. But the deaths in Houston had a particularly devastating impact at a time when the rapture of live events was being felt following the months of pandemic restriction. So that's also that I can't imagine. Well, I can't imagine because I was in solo quarantine, but that had to have added to the energy and the physical pushing and pulling and grab is that a lot of these people, I'm guessing this was their first concert in a year and a half, and it was a 2-day Travis Scott festival with 50,000 people in attendance. That's like not working out for 18 months and then going into the gym and trying to deadlift 400 pounds. You want to work your way up first. You want to start with, maybe a nice casual concert at a bar or a club. I just came back from New Orleans, and sitting at a jazz bar, just listening to a band is a nice way to work your way up and get in those reps first and build up the tolerance. You want to go to a place and enjoy music and just try to get back to your normal life, any sense of normalcy. And then, you work your way up to a theater show. Maybe you hit Terminal 5 in the city, see Chelsea Cutler. Then maybe, you hop over to the Best Buy Theater. And then, only then, when you've built up a tolerance and you're used to being around people again, then do you go to the festival. And obviously I'm joking. You don't have to build up reps when you are going to a concert, but also, would as many people have died if people were just used to going to concerts during the pandemic? I feel like everyone was just ready to go fucking crazy. You call your dealer. This is the first time we're doing Molly in 18 months. This is the first time we're doing Coke in 18 months. We're getting fucked the fuck up. And this is our shot to go out and lose our fucking minds. And so I definitely feel like the pandemic fed into that. Young people with bright futures. Those are the people who are at the event. Not totally true. I'm sure a lot of people at the event had bright futures, but most people, there's a lot of people that don't, that go to concerts. I run into people all the time where I think this person should not have a job. And I don't mean this person doesn't have the right to have a job. I just mean like this is the reason. I meet people at concerts and festivals sometimes, and I think this is the reason why we have UBI. So people like this can stay home, get a paycheck. They don't have to work, which is, it makes room for the rest of the people who have the skills and competence to hold down a job. And there are a lot of young people with dull, very unexciting, just shitty futures in front of them. And there's nothing wrong with that. And also, I don't consider myself someone that has a particularly bright future. I came from a good background, had a good family, grew up in Long Island, very privileged. But I'm also, I'm making a living and attempting to eventually become a full-time podcaster, podcast producer, produce my own shows and help people do that. And there's no guarantee that it'll work out. I don't have a particularly bright future, so I might be working some 9 to 5 the rest of my life that I don't really like and doing podcasts on the side. And, that's fine. And that might also be my brightest future. That could also be a bright future. But there are a lot of people to say that young people with bright futures were the ones who are at the event. I think it's also kind of when tragedy happens, we want to remember people at their best, and everything gets brushed over with this lens of positivity. Like you never hear about people that die that were pieces of shit. No one ever goes up to their aunt's funeral and says, Aunt Greta, she was at best an okay person, most of the time a piece of shit. You never hear things like that. It's always, like she'll be missed so much. She did all these positive things in her life, which was like the three. It's kind of like when I die, people will bring up the 3 volunteer events I did in high school that were made to look good on my resume for applying to college. And it's like every time someone dies, the only things that people talk about are those things. Like it's like you're people start speaking about you like you're applying to college again. They're like, yeah, he volunteered twice a week, helping disabled people play baseball. He was at a soup kitchen on Thursdays. He was helping homeless people inject drugs on the street. They couldn't do it for themselves. A lot of disabled homeless people, they were trying to inject black tar heroin and they weren't able to. And so this person actually went around and helped homeless people do drugs. And in reality, that happened a few times. I don't volunteer nearly as much as I should. But yeah, not that these kids or the people at the concert were pieces of shit that were there. I'm just saying it's something that happens. People just paint broad strokes. Young people with bright futures, because a lot of times people don't have bright futures, and that shit gets exaggerated. Harris, the top executive for Harris County, Lina Hidalgo, she and other officials at an afternoon news conference struggled to explain what had taken place the night before. Perhaps the plans were inadequate, perhaps the plans were good, but they weren't followed. It was something else entirely. All right. In video of the concert. Okay, so let's get into the videos of the concert. So I'm going to play some of these videos on Riverside. Hopefully this works out. If you're watching the video on YouTube, it means it worked. I'm testing this out for the first time. It allows me to play videos through the app. So this first video is Travis Scott watching a fan or seeing an ambulance, and this is his reaction to seeing an ambulance at the concert. So I'm going to take out my headphones, one of them for a sec, so I can listen to this through my computer, because I'm plugged into the recorder. I got the recorder here, computer here, so let's see. Bring this up. So let's go live.
What is that? If everybody good, put a middle finger up in the sky.
So it's Travis Scott saying, if everyone feels good, put a middle finger up in the sky. There's an ambulance in the crowd if you're listening to this. So Travis Scott is looking out into the crowd. There's blue and red lights flashing. This is an obvious ambulance or some sort of, official police, hospital, fire department vehicle. And he says, if you're feeling good, put a middle finger up in the sky. People are yelling, Travis, Travis, Travis.
Yeah, all that, all that, all
People
that,
are
all
coming
that.
out on the
2 hands
stage
to the
trying to get
sky.
his attention.
2 hands to the sky. 2 hands up, y'all. 2 hands up.
Now he's saying, put 2 hands up in the sky if you're good.
Y'all know what y'all came to do. Chase me. Let's go. I want to make this motherfucking ground shake. Goddamn it. Here we go. Here we go.
All right, so Travis Scott, he sees the ambulance and he says, put a middle finger up in the sky if you're good. After seeing an ambulance in the middle of the crowd. Again, this was not something going on the side at a festival. Like I've seen official vehicles before at festivals. There are tons of them. And never have I seen one drive through a cloud. Drive through a cloud. That would be fucking awesome. Drive through the crowd. Travis Scott is looking. He has the best vantage point. He's on the stage. There's an ambulance in the crowd, surrounded by people. There's no question that this ambulance is in the middle of the crowd. And he says, hey, if you're good, put a middle finger up in the sky. Imagine if that's how EMTs asked if people were okay. Imagine if, to judge whether or not people were okay, EMTs were like, yo, if everyone's good, put a middle finger up in the sky. Yo, if you're good, put that motherfucking middle. Like an EMT walks into a school shooting, there's an active shooter, just fucking bodies lying all over the hallway, people screaming. And the EMTs, instead of going into the school, or like police, instead of going into the school, they just crack open the door a little bit, and they're like, yo, if you guys are good, put a middle finger up in the sky. And they see like one kid like kind of raise his hand, bleeding out. It's just like he's bleeding profusely, and it's a horrible, it's an active shooter situation, and the cop is standing in the door, watching a shooter just mow down the kids with bright futures. And the cop's like, hey, it's like, hey, are you good? Are you good? It looks like you were shot through the head. Not if you're good. Put a middle finger up in the sky. No. Stop screaming for help. No, don't call your mom. Stop calling for your mom. She's not going to help you. If you're good, put a middle finger up in the sky. In the sky. No. That's not high enough. Look, I don't care if you're shot 3 times in the bicep. If your tendon's been completely ruptured, get that middle finger up in the fucking sky and chase me. And like, how fucking ridiculous is that? You see an ambulance. By the way, I'm a huge fan of Travis Scott's music. I have no idea what he's like as a person. And no way do I think this is entirely Travis Scott's fault. But this was a great opportunity as a performer to see an ambulance in the middle of the fucking crowd. Again, not adjacent to the crowd, not circling the crowd, but like in the crowd. Like, this ambulance bought a seat at his concert. He could have said something along the lines of, stop the music, please make room around the ambulance. We're stopping the concert until we at least move these people dying and already dead. Clear path for all EMT workers. Could have said so many things. And again, I think this may already exist, but I think there should be some type of training for performers when they suspect something is going on in the crowd. You should, have some sort of protocol as a performer. You're the one with the mic. You're the one with the power. Everyone is looking at you. If you suspect that something is going on in the crowd, first of all, there should be someone in your ear. You should be able to, someone should be able to tap into Scott's headphones and say, hey, they're fucking dead kids on the ground being trampled over, kids that are dying. EMTs can't get in. No one can get help. Like, stop the fucking music. You should have someone whose job it is to surveil the crowd that is also has access to talk to the performer when they need to, especially at a fucking festival with 50,000 people. How could you not do that? I mean, we do that at much smaller gatherings when there's a public official or something and there's a few thousand people in a crowd. There are people whose job it is to just watch the crowd and see if anything is sketchy going on. So why is that not something that happens at concerts when you have people putting themselves in situations where you're fucked up, you're going crazy, things are going to happen? And so to me, that was a pivotal moment where Travis Scott could have stopped the concert. And instead, he did, fucking some ridiculous thing. Put your middle finger up if you're good, which, you can't tell if people are good. Like, the thing is, if someone is heard at a concert or someone's heard at a festival with 50,000 people, most people, 49,800 of those people don't know what's going on. So if you, as a performer, tell the crowd, put your middle finger up if you're good, you're going to see almost everyone's middle finger and hands go up in the sky, and then you think, okay, everyone's good. But in reality, there's 200 people that need help that you're actually blocking them by putting your arms up, and you can see worse now. And so that is a fucking horrible way to judge the state of a crowd, is to ask the crowd. You need someone whose job it is, probably multiple people with the crowd this size, just to look and surveil and have an artist protocol before every artist performs in front of a crowd of, 2,000 or more people. There should be a protocol of what the artist says, what the artist does, if they suspect someone is passed out in the crowd, beyond the point of just too drunk, but like something is physically wrong and people are getting hurt and possibly dying. So there should be some sort of protocol for that. This next video is Travis Scott watching a fan passed out. I'm just going to drag this in real quick. So this is Travis Scott watching a fan passed out, and he's kind of singing, which is weird. This is a very weird clip, like almost demonic in a sense. It feels almost like a satanic ritual in a way, watching this clip. So I'll play it. Wait, let me so I can hear this. Put on my other headphones. So here's a clip of Travis singing as he's watching someone being taken out on a stretcher. So if you're watching this, or sorry, if you're listening to this and you can't see, so Travis Scott is standing above the stage. It looks like he's on some high-rise or thing. So he's even above the stage, and he's staring right at a kid who's being carried away by people in yellow jackets that are clearly either some sort of paramedic or venue worker. And Travis Scott he's doing like that Kid Cudi hum as he's watching someone who may be fucking dead. I don't know if this kid survived. And he's just kind of like keeping the concert going, providing ambiance music as people are dying. He's like, yeah, through the late night, oh yeah, ascending to the light, yeah. Like the last thing this kid might have heard is the Travis Scott hum, which, it's not a bad way to go out. But let me play that one more time, because it is really fucking weird. Travis Scott is on top of a pillar. He's like 30 feet above his head, watching a kid be carried out unconscious by EMT workers, and he's staring. There's no question that Scott sees his kid because he's angled right at the kid, and he's like buying time by singing instead of yelling at people like, yo, clear fucking path, stop the music, let's get these people help. Like, I don't understand what is going through his head at this moment where keeping the show alive, like he's literally doing anything to keep the show alive. He's humming into the mic as lifeless bodies are being carried through the crowd. You know, what, like this is it's like the bystander effect, but for the performers and the crew. Why did they not cut his mic, or why did someone from the crew not take his mic away from him and say, hey, sorry, Travis, but people are fucking dead in the crowd right now, so we're cutting you off? Why was no one concerned for life? And I understand that when people gather together, you're more subject to the bystander effect, and no one wants to be the one to stop a show for a dumb reason. I don't like, but clearly there's an ambulance in the crowd. You're looking at someone being carried out. You know, Kylie Jenner's posting stories with ambulances in them. Like, this looks more like a war zone than a fucking concert. How do you not stop this and just chalk it up and be like, you know what? We weren't prepared for this, and you know, maybe I make a little bit less money tonight. I probably would have made the same thing anyway. People already brought the tickets, and let's get these people some help. Again, this is why we need protocols for performance artists, because when there is no protocol or routine, you fall back onto just whatever your instincts are. And apparently Travis Scott's instincts when watching someone be carried lifelessly through one of his concerts is to sing into the mic. How how hilarious would that be if Travis Scott just started showing up at burning buildings around the United States, and firefighters were coming in? They're carrying out people who are being burnt alive, and you know, as that person screaming, Travis Scott just gets on the mic and he's like, "Yo, it's fine. Yeah, 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 yeah." And people are like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm providing an ambiance for people burning alive." And he's just like, Travis, like, you know, there are other things you can do to help. You can become involved in the situation. You can offer help. You can, you know, you're rich as fuck. You can donate money. He's like, no, the power's in my voice. I'm gonna bring him back to life. I wonder if he thought that. I wonder if Travis Scott thought he was raising this kid who was almost dead, or possibly dead at this time. I wonder if he thought he was raising this kid back to life with his voice. That maybe that's how disconnected performing artists have become. That this whole time Travis Scott was actually helping. He thought he was actually helping the crowd by continuing to go, because he thought his music was the actual cure and bringing people back to a state of consciousness. I don't know. I mean, how do you look at a dead kid and just fucking hum? Like, people are, you know, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong too. Maybe he didn't see any of this as clearly as the video depicted, because I'm going off videos on Twitter that went viral. But it certainly looks like he's looking at some kid being carried out and humming, kind of like keeping the music going, almost like an intermission. Like it's like a hum funeral intermission. Like he's sending this kid off to a higher place with his voice. He's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Everyone's just screaming in the back, like, oh my fucking god, I can't feel my face. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's dead. He's fucking dead. Yeah. Oh, come to me, yeah. Yeah. I'm burning alive. Oh my fucking. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. So the last video that I saw, this girl, she actually goes up on stage and yells at Scott to stop the show. So, or not at Scott, sorry, the camera guy. So let's watch this. There's someone dead. There's someone dead down there. And Travis Scott just like goes into it. Like I love how she's like, someone's dead, and then the next song just starts. It's like that was the intro to the song. At the next album Travis Scott drops, you're just gonna hear before song drops like, someone's dead, someone's dead, someone's dead, someone's dead, yeah, someone's dead, Like this girl and another guy climbs up the ladder and they're both screaming at a camera guy who, in his defense, has ear mufflers on. So I have no idea if he knows what's happening. But clearly, you know, something is wrong. Something is very wrong. Climbing up a ladder at a concert. And again, they don't look drunk at all. These aren't, you know, drunk people that got on stage. They're climbing up a ladder towards the cameraman and other crew in a very, you know, coherent, energetic, aggressive, assertive manner, screaming at the top of their lungs, you know, people are dead. I don't know. I mean, this whole incident is tragic as fuck. And if this thing goes like everything else goes, then we'll learn nothing from it and people will forget about it in 2 weeks and just keep doing the same shit. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck is happening. So yes, again, if you wanna check out that article, it's called "No Way Out: A Sudden Life and Death Struggle at a Houston Concert." No Way Out: A Sudden Life and Death Struggle at a Houston Concert. Okay. So the next thing and the last thing I want to get into, because we're at 45 minutes right now.